There are moments in a franchise's life when everything changes, not in whispers, not in slow steps, but in one sudden shockwave that shakes an entire division. And right now, the Atlanta Falcons are standing on the edge of one of those moments. Something is shifting in the NFC South. You can almost feel it, like distant thunder rolling toward Atlanta. A move is quietly forming behind closed doors, a move that could alter the Falcons' future, reshape their identity, and ignite the offense in a way fans haven't seen in years. And at the center of it all is a name that has haunted defensive backs since the day he entered the league. Courtland Sutton. A towering, physical receiver built to dominate the sky. A player who turns desperation throws into highlight reels. A man who can climb above a crowd of defenders and rip the ball out of the air like it was meant for him alone. The rumor is simple, but the impact could be enormous. Behind the scenes, the Denver Broncos are wrestling with a tight cap situation, a shifting roster, and the pressure of building around a team that feels trapped between rebuilding and contending. They're sitting on just $10 million of space, staring at tough decisions and tougher sacrifices. And one of those sacrifices might be Sutton. Whispers say Denver is listening to offers. Whispers say Atlanta is watching closely. And whispers say the Falcons might be ready to send a 2026 fourth-round pick for a receiver who could change the entire rhythm of their offense. On paper, it looks almost unreal. Sutton, at a cap hit barely over $3 million, is one of the best bargains in football, especially for a team that has watched its receiving core get battered by injuries. With Michael Penix Jr. nursing an ACL tear and Harrison sidelined, the Falcons suddenly have a hole big enough to swallow their playoff hopes. But Sutton? Sutton could be the answer. He isn't just big. He isn't just strong. He isn't just fast enough to threaten the deep third. He's a tone setter, the kind of player who forces defenses to adjust before the ball is even snapped. In 8 seasons, he's stacked up over 320 catches, nearly 4,800 yards, 30 touchdowns, a steady 85-plus PFF grade, and a contested catch rate over 52%. He is the very definition of a jump ball assassin. Last year alone, he battled back from injury to haul in 48 catches for 680 yards and 5 touchdowns, and that was in just 11 games. When he's healthy, few receivers can match his ability to high-point the ball, body defenders, and flip field position in a single moment. And imagine him in Atlanta. Imagine Sutton lined up opposite Drake London, 2 massive, physical receivers who demand respect at every level of the field. Imagine how safeties would inch back. Imagine how corners would hesitate. Imagine the space that would open underneath for Pitts, Bijan, and the short game rhythm this offense desperately needs. This isn't just about stats. This isn't just about height. It's about fear, the kind Sutton puts in defensive coordinators every single week. If he lands in Atlanta, the Falcons' passing attack could jump from stagnant to explosive in one offseason. Analysts believe his presence alone could push the team's receiving production up by nearly 1,000 yards, transforming an aerial attack that has struggled to stay above water into one of the most dangerous units in the NFC. The question isn't whether Sutton fits. The question is whether Denver lets him go, and whether Atlanta has the courage to seize this moment before another team does. The storm is building. Atlanta can feel it. And Courtland Sutton may be the lightning strike that changes everything. The moment you imagine Courtland Sutton in Atlanta colors, everything about this offense feels different. Suddenly, the Falcons aren't just throwing the ball, they're attacking the sky. His presence alone changes the way a defense breathes. Safeties start backing up. Cornerbacks tense up at the line. And for the first time in a long time, Atlanta's aerial game feels dangerous again. Sutton is not just another receiver. He is the kind of weapon who turns 50 to 50 balls into 80 to 20 chances, who pulls touchdowns out of thin air when everything looks crowded and impossible. In the red zone, where drives live or die, he becomes a lifeline. When the pocket collapses and timing breaks, he becomes the just give me a chance player every quarterback dreams of. Imagine the Falcons inside the 10-yard line. Noise shaking the stadium. Pressure tightening every breath. Ritter throws it high, lets it hang in the air, and Sutton rises above a wall of bodies, taking the ball the way a storm takes a tree. Those are the plays that change seasons and reputations. Zoom out for a moment and the impact becomes even bigger. A move like this tells the entire NFC South one thing: Atlanta isn't waiting. Atlanta is coming. This isn't about collecting talent. This is about shaping an identity: bold, ruthless, explosive. Sutton becomes the spark that forces the division to adjust. Games against the Saints and Buccaneers suddenly tilt in Atlanta's favor because now every defense must account for a deep threat who can tilt the field with a single stride. Picture how the offense shifts. Drake London pulling coverage inside. Kyle Pitts slipping into open space. The running backs finding wider lanes because defenses fear getting burned over the top. Every piece becomes sharper because Sutton is on the field. And for the Falcons front office, this is the kind of strategic strike that separates contenders from passengers. The cap hit is low, the risk is manageable, and the upside is massive. Denver gets flexibility. Atlanta gets a rising star with the ability to change games in moments, not over months. Think about what this could mean for the playoff picture. One contested catch on 3 RD in 12. One deep shot that flips momentum in December. One sideline grab that silences an entire stadium in January. These are the plays that decide who goes home and who keeps chasing the dream. And maybe, just maybe, this is the piece that pushes the Falcons from improving team to team nobody wants to see in the postseason. The NFC South is there for the taking. Every flaw in every rival is exposed. And if Atlanta has the courage to make this move, to lean into a future filled with fire and ambition, they might just become the surprise story of the season, the team that rises when nobody expects it. A team ready to change everything. Adding Courtland Sutton wouldn't just improve the offense, it would change the entire way Atlanta challenges the strongest defenses in football. He brings something rare, something you can't coach: the ability to take a tightly guarded pass and turn it into a moment that rips the air out of a stadium. When the game slows down, when chaos swirls around the quarterback, Sutton becomes the calm in the storm and the spark within it. Some fans will hesitate. That always happens when draft picks enter the conversation. Draft capital is the heartbeat of every franchise, the promise of tomorrow. But sometimes, tomorrow demands a piece of today. And Sutton is not a gamble on hope. He's a proven fighter. A receiver who's battled through crowded secondaries, broken coverage schemes, and walked away with the ball when the odds pointed elsewhere. Arthur Smith wants toughness. He wants reliability. He wants a receiver who can stare down pressure and rise above it. Sutton fits that mold perfectly. He's young enough to grow with the core, experienced enough to guide it. He's not a rental, he's not a placeholder, he's the type of player who can anchor an offense for years if the chemistry clicks. Imagine the shift in energy. Imagine the Falcons walking onto the field with a swagger the NFC South hasn't seen from Atlanta in years. Sutton lined up wide, London opposite him, Pitts lurking like a shadow waiting to strike. Suddenly, the division doesn't feel like a battlefield, it feels like an opportunity. And for the first time in a long time, Atlanta would look like a team ready to punch back. This move could be the spark that lights everything on fire: the belief, the momentum, the identity. A move that says Atlanta isn't here to survive the season. Atlanta is here to shape it. Picture the noise in Mercedes-Benz Stadium on the night Sutton makes his first big play. One deep shot. One contested grab. One moment where the crowd rises to its feet, seeing a future they've been waiting for. The kind of play that becomes a turning point in a season, or even a franchise. If this trade becomes reality, it won't just be about numbers. It won't just be about wins. It will be about rewriting what it means to wear red and black. About stepping into a new chapter, one filled with fire, ambition, and the belief that Atlanta can stand toe-to-toe with the NFL's elite. A chapter where the Falcons don't just compete. They take back their place among the teams that matter. The NFC South won't see it coming, and that's exactly what makes it powerful.